Welcome to Leadership Unscripted, where we have conversations with real leaders about what it's like to live with integrity in today's world. Today, we are at IMC, our International Maxwell Conference. We do this twice a year, and we have the unbelievable opportunity to meet with many of our coaches who are in education. Today, I get to talk to Stefan Schreibeis, who is not only a coach for us, but is also the superintendent of Glendive Public Schools in Montana. He is an unbelievable leader. You've been a coach for how long now?
Since 2016.
2016, so 9 years. This is what, IMC number what?
I've only been to 7 because it's so hard to get here in March. It's our busiest times for us.
But what's unbelievable you're going to hear from this great leader is all the stuff that he's doing in Montana, from stages of learning to these 3 R's that I'm just so fascinated with. And at the heart of it all is just about kindness and relationships with you, which I love. First of all, welcome. We're glad you're here. Talk a little bit about your journey to get where you're at. Talk a little bit about your area, your district, what you're doing.
Yeah, I've never wanted to be a teacher or in education. I've said no 4 times in my life, and I've learned now, don't tell God no. It happens.
Yeah.
I said no to teaching. I ended up becoming a teacher. I said no to administration, became an administrator. I said no to Glendive. I actually graduated from Glendive. You're going to go back there ever in my life. Again, got back to Glendive. And then said no to being a superintendent. And I am now going on my 9th year as superintendent of Glendive Public Schools. Wow. Place that I graduated from and was never going to go back to. But I love our district.
Yeah.
And I love our community. And I love serving our kids and our staff to be able to do that. I always say all the time, learning is about failure. A lot of people want everything to be perfect, and it really is about making mistakes. Is learning. That's real learning. And so I do that. And I model that really well, how to make mistakes and then get better. But we're constantly striving to do better. And
talk a little bit about Glendive. Talk about the makeup of the schools, the students, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we're a smaller community. And so we have about 8,000 people in our community. Our school district's made up about 1,200 students, K-12. And so it's, for some people listening to this, they're going to be like, wow, that's a small school district. There was 1,200 kids in my high school.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, it's still... leadership is difficult. No matter what level that you are at, it's difficult. But I always say, but to love, serve, and lead anyways.
Yeah, it's
because of that.
Yeah, that's good. Stefan, talk a little bit about the stages of learning philosophy. It's very unique, right? But when I was reading about it and looked online to some of it, it's pretty fascinating what you're doing. Talk about the heart behind it. Talk about why in your community it seems to really connect and align to what y'all are doing.
Yeah, so the stage of learning was something that I came up with when I was a high school math teacher. And I found myself in some trainings about the brain and how it worked.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and like, why do we not as teachers learn this in college? Because how people learn is so important. And so I put all of that learning of research on the last 100 years of brain into this strategy. And so there's a lot to this strategy. I was published and I got to speak at NAGA conferences and all these different things on it. But what it did for my students just transformed everything that we did. We went from averaging C's or around there for tests to averaging A's every single time. And really, it's a self-reflection model that allows for the students to self-reflect on where they're at in their learning, for the teacher to also reflect, match that up so that true individualization and differentiation can happen in the classroom. And it's been really powerful. It was something that I think everyone should do. And it's very simple. It's a simple concept of everyone learns the same way. You get information, you have to see it modeled or have examples.
Right.
Then you need to do it with some support. Then you can do it on your own and then you can apply it. That's basically the concept of it. The power comes in for the student understanding where they're at in their learning, for the teacher to know that when those two things match, it's a really powerful thing. And then for the teacher then to be able to give them exactly what they need where they're at in that process.
It sounds like a great tool for the teacher, right? It's not about adding one extra thing to the teacher. It's actually trying to make that a smooth transition, right? A smooth alignment. What happens in that when, because this is what's going to happen, right? Students are students. They're sometimes going to have a better feel of where they're at than probably the teacher does. How do y'all mesh that relationship, the disagreement that might happen in that?
Yeah, so how I would do that in the classroom is whenever I see that, I then ask questions. Everything's about learning, asking questions. So I ask reflective questions. Tell me about why you picked whatever number that you picked. And then I would then say what I say, and then we get together on that. And usually the kids are pretty good of knowing once I say mine, they're like, yeah, you're right. This is what it is. And then we're back to being a man match.
I like that. All right, let's pivot to the 3 R's, right? Relationships,
Things to talk about.
relevance, rigor. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said one thing that this generation, because we have a 15-year-old at home, we have a 21-year-old in college, is grit, which is the rigor thing, right? Talk a little bit about your philosophy around that, how y'all implement that kind of philosophy in your school system, and the importance of that in the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time I get in front of my staff or I speak to other districts or whatever, the 3 R's always come up. So in education, the 3 R's, a lot of people are like, oh, it's reading, writing, arithmetic. I don't know those 3 R's. There's the other 3 R's, which people will say rigor, relevance, and relationships. That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
And I say it's backwards. It's absolutely backwards.
Yeah.
Relationships come first and need to come first every single time.
Yeah.
And once you have, as an educator, anybody, and this is coaching, this is anything, once you have a relationship with someone, they'll start working for you.
That.
But relationships not enough. You have to then become relevant to that students or that person. If you're coaching them or if you're leading them, you have to become relevant. And once you get to that stage, it's great, but that's what unlocks being able to, what I say, the Goldilocks principle, you can adjust the rigor, how difficult it is. So if you have something that's too difficult, you're in frustration mode and it's too hard and you shut down. If it's too easy for you, you're in independent mode, and learning doesn't happen in independent mode. It happens in the moment where there's just enough struggle and it's not too easy. And every single person is different. And so once you go through the relationships and make those connections, then become relevant. The one step I did miss is not only if you're teaching them something, you have to become relevant, but then you have to make the content relevant to the students.
Yes.
And once you have that, then the rigor takes over and now you can adjust it. When all that happens, that's what, to me, creates a highly effective teacher. Now, I will go to my grave saying this, and this is what I say to my staff, my board, doesn't matter who I'm talking to. There's a piece of research that says the number one indicator of success in students is highly effective teachers. And I always say to my district is highly effective people, because I believe that's true as well.
Sure.
But the data really shows teachers. And then the question is, if the number one indicator of success in students is highly effective teachers, what makes a highly effective teacher? The 3 R's. Relationships, relevance,
100%.
You can do that, then learning is going to happen. I always say a highly effective teacher, you can take everything out of a classroom, give them a sand floor, learning will happen.
Yep.
That's what happens with highly effective teachers. With a ineffective teacher or any teacher, you can have Bill Gates come and supply the teacher with all this technology, curriculum, doesn't really matter. It doesn't necessarily mean the learning is going to happen.
That's right.
So being highly effective is super important in everything that we do.
I love that. All right, let's talk about your students, your heartbeat, right? It's why you teach. It's why you're in this position. Talk to our listeners. A lot of them are going to be contemporaries of yours, are going to be in the same level, some higher, some will be educators. The importance of leadership development in this new next generation, and how as educators, you're carrying the mantle to make that happen.
Absolutely. Well, to me, leadership development in students is the most important piece to what we do in education. They are the next generation. They will be the leaders of when I'm older.
Yep.
And so how we model and be examples for them is of most importance with how to do that. And so I would try to do a lot of different leadership things. I lead in our school district.
Thank you.
And that is in the middle school right now. And it is a huge program that's just shows values to our students and teaches them how to be good people.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing, especially when you get in a conversation of AI and robotics and all the things that are changing right now that people have no idea what this is going to look like. We need to teach our students how to be human beings and be able to connect and to critically think and do the things that, they're going to need for that. And leadership is one of those. You're not going to be able to have an AI lead.
Yeah.
We need people for that. And so we need to teach those leadership skills to them. And so having leadership academies, like something I've brought to my district, I lead anything that you can bring to be able to get kids to learn leadership. Another way is sports. A lot of people talk about sports, but if you're not intentional about the leadership in sports just becomes something that's nice and fun and keeps kids in school. You have to be intentional. And so being superintendent has been really difficult for me because I've had to step out of the classroom away from the fire. And I knew that that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to be a superintendent.
Yeah.
And so I've learned a lot over the last 8 years as superintendent, but one of them was I am tired of being away from the fire. So I went to my board this last year and asked, can I coach? Will you allow me to coach? I don't know if I'm gonna have the time to do this.
Right.
I need to get back to the fire.
Yeah.
I need to be able to build these kids up. And specifically for me, it was the young ladies. I wanted to coach softball because I think the world has just really gone after girls and their self-worth and everything else. And so to be able to build them up to be the people that God has designed them to be and to get them to understand their worth is just really important.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you keep saying I had to get back connected to the buyer, the client, the field. You had to get back into the field to get a feel for what was going on, because the world in this generation changes so much more rapidly than when you and I were younger. It's crazy how much change happens in just a week for a student. And the fact that you're getting back into the field. What's one thing you're learning as you've gone back into the field, so to speak, to see that you're learning about this next generation that gives you hope?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you, going back in the field with this and back into the fire, I've always known that I was away and didn't know. That's the very first thing I learned was I don't know. I don't remember quite. I maybe thought I did, even though I said I wouldn't. But this generation, I think, is mislabeled a lot. And people say that they're lazy and whatever. No, if you find their passion, they will work so hard and they are hungry. I've been seeing this hunger that they've had to be led well and then also to lead well. But I think a lot of that has to do with the models that they have, though, have not been real good. If you look at sports in general, the attitude of yelling in the sports arena as coaches to the players, I think, is just a travesty.
Yeah.
And it's very few people respond well on that. And this generation does not.
That's right.
So to be able to model good leadership skills, I think, to them is going to go a long ways, and they are hungry for it.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you are in our family as a coach, right? So you're learning the principles to be able to bring those into those situations to change that narrative, that yelling and all that has to be a part of athletics. It doesn't. It doesn't. You actually are there to not only coach the skill, but to coach the person.
We're there to equip and to build them up.
Yeah.
That's what we're there to do.
I love that. All right. Rapid fire questions. Okay. You get 30 minutes. Okay. To spend 30 minutes with anybody dead or alive. Okay. Can't say Jesus. Can't say John Maxwell. All right. Who would it be and why?
Jimmy Casas.
Okay.
People in education. He used to be my mentor. I'd do another 30 minutes with him. He's really good in the field. He understands things. He understands how things work.
I love that. All right. You're a sports guy. Favorite sports team?
That's a hard one. I'm going to go with Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, but
Okay.
I've been a lifelong.
All right. For the Cowboys to make it to the Super Bowl this year,
Jeez, I don't know this.
What
a good question.
what needs to happen? And you can't say Jerry Jones needs to sell the team. You can't say that. So what needs to happen?
I don't watch sports very much, so I don't know that one. That's not going to be a good question.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
I'd just say good leadership.
There you go. I love it. Yes, I love it. All right. What are you most excited about for your school district? School's just started. What are you most excited about this year?
My staff is amazing.
That's good.
I see what they get to do. And it might be a canned answer, but I'm very honest with that. We have an amazing staff, our administrative team, building something really good, and they just love kids.
I love that.
That's good.
I want to say thank you for helping us be better, helping us get values and leadership out in schools, especially in your school district. And hopefully as this relationship blossoms, we're going to be able to be in more schools in Montana and more schools in Glendive. Hey, thanks for your time. Thanks for being here at IMC. Thanks for being a part of our family. And listen, state of Montana, you got a leader here. You got a world-class level 5 leader that is endorsed by the John Maxwell and what we do. Stephen, thank you, man. We appreciate you.
John.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.